because, you know, they've sold themselves to the couch potato lifestyle.
And the giant horde of lazy, dumbed-down people are going to be used as a weapon by the government and the corporations against the producers, and they're going to use this wave of panic to fully rob anyone who's actually done well in life.
Exactly, and it's going to be class warfare. If people are prepared for this, and they've got reserves of, you know, gold and food and whatever, and they've got land and they've got places to go, and they can get through this, then the people who haven't prepared for it are going to be insane with jealousy, and it's going to create class warfare.
And the ultra-elite are going to point the giant horde against the tiny middle class and wipe it out, as they did in Nigeria, Argentina, South Africa, and countless other nations. We know this is an orchestrated plan. We have the IMF World Bank documents. Paul, stay there. Let's come back and talk about time frames for the collapse and how we try to avert it. Then we'll get into the attack on the internet and a lot more, and phone calls. Stay with us. Okay, going back to Paul Watson. Paul, yeah, mainstream news is saying the next year or two depression, but all the economic numbers show at least 3 years we've been in a deep recession going into depression. Now they're announcing it. They're now trying to form this new global SDR system. You know, Salente says by the end of this year we'll be in a total collapse. I hope that's not the case, but when Schwarzenegger's already telling state employees they're going to get minimum wage, and police departments coast to coast are laying people off saying they won't respond to crime, but taxes are going up. I mean, this is amazing. What's your take on the collapse?
Well, certainly they're infuriated about the fact that all these anti-incumbent candidates are threatening the establishment members, people like Harry Reid. You know, his opponent, the Tea Party member, has been completely lambasted by the mainstream media because she supports the Oath Keepers. She supports getting the fluoride out of the water. But those kind of people are really starting to challenge the establishment minions. So that's November. That's what, you know, 4 months away from now. So that's really going to be a big flashpoint, I think. But certainly within 2 years, it's going to start to unwind. It already is, as you said. What freaks me out about the whole thing is, you know, the people who would normally be deriding us as paranoid alarmists, the big establishment media people, are saying exactly the same thing. And in fact, some of them are even going further than we are. For example, there's a guy called Simon Sharma, who is the most recognised historian in Britain. You know, he presents all the BBC and History Channel documentaries, all the new ones that come out. And again, this is in the Financial Times. That's where they announce all this, because it's a Bilderberg-owned paper. They know the vast majority of the serfs are looking at the topless women on page 3 of The Sun and, you know, all this kind of stuff. So people don't read those newspapers, but the insiders, the elitists, do. And Sharma, this historian, wrote that not only will there be a collapse, an economic collapse, civil unrest, you know, mass riots, but there's also the very real prospect of a revolution, and he's talking about in America, because the elite might allow the chaos to get completely out of hand and allow people to get a foot in the door on actually wrestling back control of the system. And this is a guy who's intimately tied into the establishment.
Well, that's the same things that Bigner Brzezinski said 2 months ago.
Yeah. So, in a sense, they're going even further than us in saying that not only is there going to be mass unrest and riots and a collapse, but it may even lead to a complete kind of coup d'etat on behalf of the people.
Well, that's the big issue, is that either the globalists get unbelievable expansions of power out of the crisis they've engineered, or we use it to restore the republic and restore free nations worldwide. And they're going to win in some nations, we're going to lose in some nations, we're going to win in some nations. But the fight is on.
Yeah, and I mean, Sharma said that, this is his quote, that the American people could, quote, bring down the governance of the American Republic. He's talking about the people overthrowing the government, and this is a massively respected historian. But the key thing is, he says that the only way that the elite will prevent this from happening, if they allow the crisis, the unrest, to get out of hand, is by Obama becoming basically a dictator, an authoritarian enforcer. And we know how he's going to do that, which ties into the Shapiro quote out of the Financial Times just a couple of days ago.
And we're going to cover that in a moment, but look at not just Woody Allen and all these other people calling for Obama to be a dictator. We have the system itself, and we had the Financial Times of London a year and a half ago with the headline, "And Now for World Government," with the head editor for their international affairs, who's been a Bilderberg attendee, saying, yes, it's authoritarian, yes, it's been secret, but it's for your own good. So they're now coming out saying tyranny is good. They're not even denying it now.
No, and it's also coming from the left wing with the climate change movement saying we need dictators to save the environment. We need to see the end of democracy if the Earth is to survive global warming. So it's coming from every side. And if they are to ram through the majority of what they want in this anemic post-industrial revolution, then yeah, they're gonna have to get hardcore. They're gonna have to get brutal. I mean, as I was talking about before, when we last had this austerity fascism in the United Kingdom, the top bracket of income tax was 98%. Anyone earning over £20,000 a year had to pay 98% of that top bracket to the government. They're not going to get that through without some fascism along the way.
Stay there, Watson. We're going to talk more about this when we get back on the type of terror attacks they may be planning to stage. Now, why would ultra-rich want a 90+% tax bracket? Because they're offshore. They take your money domestically, ship it offshore.
Live from Austin, Texas, broadcasting worldwide, it's Alex Jones.
We are back live. Thank you so much for joining us on this July 15th, 2010, live Thursday edition. Don't forget, I'll be back this Sunday with the abbreviated broadcast, 4 to 6 p.m. Central Time as well. We have the free podcast with close to 300,000 people downloading it a day at Infowars.com on the listen page. We have the free iPhone app you can download for free. Listen how you want, where you want, whenever you want. We have an Android app up there as well, all available for free at Infowars.com. And, of course, you're listening to us on the AM and FM dial, shortwave, global satellite, XM. Just keep spreading the word to your friends and family how they can tune in. Anybody can tune in. Shortwave, satellite, internet, AM, FM. There's always a way for you to listen, and we continue to reach more people and shed light on these criminals because you are supporting us. We're going back to Paul Watson in a moment to talk about staged crises, fake cyber attacks to bring in total control of the web, new terror attacks to be blamed on domestic groups. The globalists are clearly green-lighting that. The oil well spill, all of it, the Iran situation, and then Tony, Taylor, Tim, Alex, Jeff, and others, huge news blitzes and key video and audio clips and analysis. Also want to get into one-child policy being promoted all over the U.S. media when we get later into the next hour. Going back to Paul Joseph Watson. Paul, top Clinton official, only a terror attack can save Obama. Again, in the true paper of record, where the globalists speak, where the Bilderbergs own the paper, they are saying, because this is a paper for them to communicate with each other, that Obama needs an Oklahoma City or a 9/11, and if he can't have one of those so he can rally as a strong leader, then he is going to be destroyed. Shapiro said, this is chilling information. But remember, going back a year ago and accelerating the last 3 or 4 months, I've been saying I could see them in all these HBO and MSNBC and CNN documentaries, and in ADL reports, Southern Poverty Law Center, Pentagon reports, MIAC reports, Homeland Security law enforcement brainwashing reports, propaganda reports saying gun owners, libertarians, conservatives, Tea Partiers, in the Fedders, Ron Paul supporters, Alex Jones supporters, they want to kill cops. They want to blow up buildings. Turns out the Hatari was totally fake, like we told you. 8 months before they got busted, I could see them being set up. I said that on air. Out of 400-plus militias, I identified them as being infiltrated. Turned out that was the case. But it turned out it was the feds that were basically shooting their mouths off, so that was a setup. They are clearly getting ready to stage terror attacks to be blamed on the American people, and terror attacks to be blamed on Iran, and a cyber attack as an excuse to take over the web. And, of course, now we have the chief economist of the World Bank, IMF, telling the Korea Times that, yes, they're going to use the oil spill for a carbon tax. You can see their methodology of problem, reaction, solution, and using crises at work here like never before. And they're so transparent. Watson, break it down.
Well, it's almost a mirror image of the situation in the mid-90s with Clinton. I mean, Clinton didn't have much higher approval ratings in early 95 than Obama does now. He was a little bit higher. But, of course, as soon as the Oklahoma City bombing happened, which was, of course, completely run by the FBI through their stooge, their patsy, Timothy McVeigh, now that's completely out in the open, Clinton went up to back around 60%, and this conservative revolution, as it was at the time, that threatened the power monopoly was completely crushed, and they were able to demonize their political opposition as right-wing fringe extremists who should be completely ignored. And that's what we see happening again today.